Hi, Miss Lee. It's nice to meet you. Do you go by the name Miss Lee, or would you be prefer to be called by another name?
You can call me Kai.
Okay, Kai. My name is Mackenzie Hebert, and I'm a social worker here for Community Support Services. So before we get started, Kai, do you know what a social worker does?
Oh, no, I don't. I never been to social worker before.
Okay, Kai. So what social workers do is we help people solve and cope with problems in their everyday lives. So here at Community Support Services, we specialize in providing counseling that is brief and helps clients problem solve or manage situations that are chronically stressful. So at our agency, we typically provide 12 weeks of 1 hour counseling sessions. Um, Personally, in my approach, I use the person-centered therapy model, and this approach was created by Carl Rogers. And in using this approach, I tend to try and encourage my clients to focus on their understanding of their own lives and their situations. You are the expert of your own life. So in using this approach, I believe that a person enters therapy in a state called incongruence. Um, so in other non-therapy words, essentially your or another patient's view of yourselves may not align with how others may actually see you. And as a result of this, in our work together, we kind of will talk and focus on you. And like I said, just see how you view the world around you. And our sessions, they will be led by you. Like I said, you are the expert of your own life. And additionally, Kai, I do want to tell you that what you say to me, it is confidential, except in 4 different situations. So if you're telling me that children are being neglected or abused, I do have to report that. If the court does, for some reason, subpoena your chart, this is very unlikely, but I just have to let you know that. If I believe that you are leaving with the intent to commit serious physical violence against someone else, and if I believe that you're leaving the session with the intent to commit suicide or to seriously harm yourself. So Kai, I know that this is a lot. Do you have any questions before we begin our session?
So I'm quite nervous about this. I have never spoken to a counselor before, and I don't know what to feel about it now.
Yeah, no, and Kai, I just want to let you know that what you're feeling, it's not an abnormal feeling. Many people feel the same way you do before they meet with a social worker. It's completely understandable that you're nervous. I think most people are in your situation.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so Kai, so we already signed consents prior to this session. And I just kind of briefly gave you an overview. Just for full disclosure, before we get started, I do want to tell you I have had the chance to look over your file. However, in your own words, can you please tell me what brings you in today?
Yeah, so I'm really feeling overwhelmed due to work and family stress. I feel nothing I do is good enough. I'm like, 8 years old now, and I'm working a night shift. I'm stocking shelf and making minimum wage money. I only work like around 30 hours, and I requested this over and over from my supervisor to actually give me more hours, but I'm not getting any more hours. And I tried very hard to work. I'm very hardworking person, but I just feel whatever I'm doing, like it doesn't change my life, and I can never get people to like me.
Okay, Kai. So that's a lot. So if I'm hearing you correctly, I'm just I'm hearing you say that you're feeling overwhelmed and like you're trying to work more and hardworking, but you feel like no matter what you do, that people just don't like you. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's exactly it. I feel like overwhelmed. I feel like I have lots of pressure on myself and my family as well. It's like a stressful situation. So I feel like they want me to be like my family want to be successful, but no matter what I do, I feel like I'm not living up to my family's standard. My parents immigrated to Canada and they opened their own business, and they're doing quite well. They despite them coming from a different country and starting over, but I'm still living with them. I have 2 younger siblings who are in college and work. I have 2 older siblings that they moved moved out with their spouses, they have children. And I feel like I'm a black sheep of family. Like everybody's doing well. And like, my family, despite them being immigrant, they are doing much better than me that I'm born here. And I'm like, I wish things just could be different.
Okay, Kai. So Kai, I was struck by something you just said. So when you say you wish things could be different, what exactly do you mean by that? How do you wish things might be different for you?
I wish I was smarter. I'm always struggling. Like I feel like always struggling in the school and barely even passed high school. And I also wish like people like me more. I keep getting fired from job due to like having trouble with my boss. Like I had argument with my boss and lost my job. I have even a struggle to like date and find a good friendship going on. I feel like I'm a loser.
So Kai, that feels like it has been extremely difficult for you. It sounds like you are feeling as though you're having difficulties communicating with people. However, if I'm hearing you correctly, it sounds like you want to be able to communicate with people and have positive relationships. Am I hearing you correctly, Kai?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like I really want to like, do better, but I feel I'm not good enough. My parents are always asking me why I'm not dating and why am I still living at home. And like, I find it embarrassing. I'm not smart enough to keep relationship or like, move out by myself. Like, I'm not able to even do these things that my younger sibling are able to do.
It must be hard to feel as though you should be embarrassed and like you're not good enough. I imagine, Kyla, when your parents ask about when you're moving out and your dating life, I imagine that's extremely frustrating for you.
Yeah, it does make me frustrated with them. I feel like I'm working hard and no one is recognizing it with whatever I have in power I work. I want to make my parents proud of me. And I feel like no matter how hard I try, I will not get better in life. And they just make me feel like I'm not good enough.
So Kai, you keep saying that you feel like you're not good enough for your parents and what they want. So just in saying that, what do you think your parents want your life to look like?
Yeah, I think they wish I was a smarter. I think they wanted me to like get a better job, that I could have like a boyfriend, I could move out and live independently. I think like they wanted me to they want me to have a best friends to like and they moved to Canada so I can have a better life. And I just want to make them proud of me. I get so sad sometimes that I just like I can't stop crying because all these things like that they did for me, but I can't like even do anything in return. I can't be smarter or like better in life.
So Kai, when I hear you talk about your parents, I can really hear you really do love your parents, don't you?
Yeah, I do love them, which is why I'm like not making them proud is really upsetting me, because I'm not being the person that they wish I could be, so it's really hard.
Yeah, so it sounds to me as though you're feeling like you will only be acceptable to your parents if you're perfect, and that's a lot of pressure to put on you, and it doesn't give you the opportunity to make mistakes and to be human.
Yeah, you're right. Like, why my parents want me to be perfect, like them and like my sibling. And I told you like they're in college and I'm not. So like it's and it's not just my parents. Even my friends are always asking me why I'm not like going out with them, why I'm not like dating. So like I think I'm disappointing everybody.
Yeah, so to me, just in what you just said, it seems as though you're struggling with the feelings like you have to live up to the expectations of others, about all the people around you.
Yeah, that's true. Like, exactly. And my friends, I find it harder to go out with them, and because they always ask me these questions, right? Like they ask me, which make me to stay inside and like, look at the social media all day long, which in turn make me like lonelier because I see all these people in social media. It seems like they are all having fun, and I'm like just sitting there like a loser at home. Then this lead me to fight more with my friends and family, and in turn I struggle at work. So it's just like one thing after the other. I just don't know what I should do with this anymore.
So to me, it seems like you're feeling a lot of pressure from your family and from your friends, and the pressure and what you feel they're putting on you. It's making you want to be alone more, which is causing you to be on social media more. So, Kai, what in your own, like in your own thoughts, like what do you think you could do to fix this?
Yeah, like, the only thing I can think of is like, actually one of my friend told me to like, come and get help from you. So I'm here, like, hoping that you can tell me what to do to like, fix this.
Yes. And a lot of people come to sessions with me and just hoping that I have a magic answer, can just tell them what to do to kind of fix what they deem to be problems in their own life. But Kai, I can't tell you what you need to do or what you should do in the situation. I don't mean to like avoid your question, but I'd like to work with you to try and come up with solutions that you think might be able to improve your situation.
But the thing is that I honestly don't know. I really wish I was normal person, like, my friends and family and like my sibling and stuff. And I could go out and get a better job and like, socialize with people. Like I really wish I was able to do that, but I don't know how.
Kai, just in listening to you talk, it's really evident how hard you are on yourself. I'm glad that you're telling me how you feel, because I imagine that feeling like this and having so much pressure on you, it must be difficult. You're quite hard on yourself.
Yeah, I am hard on myself because I'm not smart enough, and I never make anyone proud of me.
So Kai, when we earlier in the session, I kind of spoke about the person-centered approach that I use. And when we look at your situation with this approach, so the person-centered, we tend to look at a person's sense of self-concept and how a person views and sees themselves. And like I said earlier, how someone sees themselves, it's often different than how others see them. So what I'm hearing you say is that you judge and believe yourself to not be smart, and this is reflected in your self-esteem and how you see yourself. And because you don't think you're smart, the way you interact with everyone is in a way where it's evident that you don't think you're smart. So just from listening to you talk, I believe that this is impacting your work, your friendships, your communication skills, and even your family relationships. Do you think that this might be correct? Am I on the right track?
Now that you're saying that, I do think that, like, I interact with people like I'm not smart. I think it's maybe accurate thought that you're like, thinking about. I just feel like I'm stuck feeling this way, right? Like, and this makes me sad. And then in turn, I cannot stop like feeling like that.
Okay, when you said that you felt sad, like I felt sad also. I feel sad just for the part of you that wants to connect with others, but just doesn't feel like you're good enough or smart enough to be able to do so.
Yeah, like, I think that's interesting because I never thought about how all these, like, was making me feel. Now that I know just how sad I felt, I just don't know how to fix it though. I just want to stop feeling that way. And like, I want to feel better.
Yeah, but Kai, like this is a great starting point. Being able to recognize your feelings, this is great.
Okay, okay. You have made me think now, like, part of me wonders if I purposefully have like sabotaged my relationship with other people and job and stuff just to prove, to myself and others that I am stupid because I'm feeling that way.
So I'm listening to you talk and recognizing that you have this part of you, this part that may be sabotaging yourself in other areas of life. So in recognizing this, what do you think you can do this week that may help to fix this?
Just thinking, I get so nervous that I always only want to work that night shift. I'm thinking maybe I should like volunteer for a cashier day shift or something. This may improve my confidence and make me feel like I'm smarter. I'm just like, so nervous though, thinking about being on the cash, even if I try once this week to be on the cash. That's a great role. Like, if I am able to work in the cash, I might even have a full-time position, but I'm always like, thinking how people will look at me and I might not be able to do it. So I don't like, I never wanted to try it.
So Kai, so what you're saying, like that sounds like it's going to be challenging for you, but just in talking to you, I know you can do it. Just even in our sessions today, you've made huge steps. You've acknowledged your problems, you've reflected on them, and explained them to someone you just met, me. And I keep saying this, Kai, but this is a huge first step for you. Um, so one thing I'd like to ask you is just in order for me to get to know you better over the next week, I'd I'd like you to be able to track your stress level. So I'll confirm with you at the end of the session, but I'm going to email you a weekly time chart. So I use this chart for my own time management. However, you can also use it as a way to rate your moods. So using this, I would like to rate your mood on a scale from 1 to 5, being that 1 is you're feeling very sad, 3 is neutral, you're feeling okay, and then 5 is you're feeling very happy. I've had some clients who have actually drew smiley faces or sad faces instead, if that's what you prefer.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, so I know asking people to do these hourly, it's a lot of work, and sometimes I feel like it's setting people up to not do it. So I'm just going to ask you to do it kind of just to rate your general mood from when you wake up until noon, then from noon to 3, 3 to 6, 6 to 9, and then 9 to when you go to bed. And I also want you to chart just like what you're doing during these times, where you are, who you're with. This may help us to be able to look at it and help you to be able to identify patterns kind of in your feelings and what you're doing at the time. So if this is okay with you, you can bring this with you to your next appointment and we can review it and strategize on our next steps together.
Okay, okay. Yeah, you're right. I can do that. And then like, I like, when I do that, I can also, try that, like, working in the cashier as well and see like, if I can create a new kind of like, like view of myself, like I can think differently about myself. I like the idea of mood scale also a lot. I think it's really like having to be like honest with myself and do it maybe not having to do it orally, but it's kind of like make it so like make it much doable if I'm not having to do it every hourly, but that kind of like make me to kind of look at myself and be honest about my feelings and like what kind of going on in that moment for me.
Yeah, no, and that's what I like about this is it gives you the chance to reflect kind of yourself. So Kai, so we are coming to the end of our session today. So before COVID and when we were in person, I usually give you a business card, which consists of emergency numbers for your benefit. However, during these times and through the Zoom, I actually now email my clients, I email my patients, sorry, this information. So just to confirm, your email is kai@hotmail.com.
Yeah, that's the correct one.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming today, Kai. Like I said, we only have a few minutes left, but before we end, would you like to come back and see me next week? Would this be okay?
Yeah, I'll love to come back. I actually feel much better than when I started here. I was feeling so nervous. I'm feeling like so much calmer now. So I would love to come back and see you next week.
Okay, no, and thank you so much, Kai. I'm glad you're feeling better. And does the same day and time next week work for you?
Yeah, that works perfectly.
Okay. Well, and I look forward to that, Kai. Just before we go, do you have any fun plans or anything planned for this week?
I maybe go out and see a movie or something with a friend. I like, I usually would stay home, but maybe I try this time.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was great, Kai, and I hope you have a great time. I'll see you next week.
Okay, perfect. See you next week. Okay, that's been perfect, Mackenzie. Like you
No,
did
I
the
was
perfect timing. Like my timing was like right on moment. That's perfect. Very good.
I find the person centered hard because like because I'm like I usually do CBT, so I would usually use the person centered, and I find like sometimes I feel like I'm not doing anything.
No, but like no, you did great. Like, it's actually the reverse. Like I do usually person centered. So like it's kind of like, yeah, that's like the way it goes. Like, but
Is that
so
how it goes? Is that
yeah,
yeah?
no, you did great. So it was good that like, you kind of like try to find, and like, I find this often like, client asking like, to come and like, you go and fix the problem for them. So like, it's kind of like look weird as a client now that like I'm kind of like, playing the reverse role myself. I'm like, yeah, you come fix it for me. Like, I'm not feeling it. So you have to tell me like, no, you're like very smart and you're this and that. Like, as a client, you kind of like feel like that. But I
Yeah.
mean, like, as a counselor, like, now I feel how my client feel when I'm doing this, like, to them. So
Yeah.
it
Well, and in
was
my
like,
when I worked as a behavior therapist, I used CBT a lot, and now like in my new job, we do tend to focus on the person-centered approach. But I'm still doing training, so I was like, I may as well give it a try before
yeah,
jumping into it in like
yeah.
a
No,
real life
like
situation.
looking for people's like their own, like, strength and their own, like, kind of way of like solving problem themselves, like, finding their own, like, kind of steps basically to take to solve their problem. Yeah, no, you did great. That's like, I like that. Felt like, comfortable, and the same as you were feeling, like I felt kind of in the zone of that like client, and I was like putting myself in my client shoe. I'm like, oh shoot, like this is hard to be a client. Like, maybe it's harder.
And it's hard, like I feel like to be a client, like it's hard to tell somebody you don't really know, like all these personal details like about
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Especially like, with the time, I feel like, 20 minutes, like you have to like basically like, throw your guts out like in front of somebody else, like in 20 minutes, like without like actually having that, like, kind of maybe relationship is like, is hard, definitely.
Did you like, was I too repetitive? I feel like I kept like, no, I feel like I kept
No.
going, okay, Kai, in listening to you think. Like,
Yeah, no, like you were paraphrasing, and like, I think that's like, that's the way you're supposed to do it. So
okay,
I'm,
I actually feel
yeah, like I
halfway
feel
through,
yeah.
halfway through, I was like, I feel like I said, okay, Kai, like 20 times.
Yeah, paraphrasing sometimes it feel like weird, but I think like, this kind of like shows that you're listening to clients. So like,
Yeah, that's
I think that's how it went. Yeah. Yeah. So it went good.
that's
So just stop the
yeah.
recording.
We probably don't have to talk for the full. Yeah, I'm just gonna stop. Ah.